Hi, Paula. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Bob.
Does that sound any better?
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
How about Robert L? Can you hear me? Doesn't show that he's muted. Hi, Gabriella.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I just want to confirm you are going to be showing and running the slides on your computer. Is that right?
Yeah, I have to pull them up so I can just, I should be just able to share my screen, right?
That's right. It should be set that you can share.
Okay. So let me see. I was just gonna, can I try now just to make sure?
Sure. Your camera's off. I don't know if you need to start your video first.
Oh, I have to do the video for it? Okay.
I'm not sure, but I would think so.
Okay. Hold on. Exit out.
morning,
Hi,
Lila.
Lila.
Hi.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
There you are.
Here I am. Okay.
There's a whole lot of missing people today. The Krolls are in Idaho, and Mick is in Idaho, and Kathy's in Arizona. So I think people are starting to run around.
So
Okay, can you see my screen?
I can now try running it as a slideshow, opening it to run and see if it still shows it.
From the beginning. There you go.
Okay, good.
So I do have I think a video and some other things to show, but now that, I can't see other things in my screen if I run it this way. So, because there are links in there. So I wanna, let me see. So if I wanna open this, okay, it will open it. Can you guys see that?
So no, what happens is it opens it on a different frame, and it's only this one frame that's showing. You'll have to unshare and then share the YouTube video. You know what I mean? You'll have to stop sharing and then click on the video and then share screen again. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what is it that you're seeing now?
Just the PowerPoint slide with the link to the YouTube video, the same one that you clicked on.
Okay. I can't see that now. Oh, there it is.
So that's where it stayed for us.
Yeah, that's
that
kind
make
of hard
sense?
to have to. Yeah. Now you see the beginning of it, right?
Yep, you're at the beginning.
Okay. So you'll have to stop sharing, resharing a few times.
Yeah, so stop
Okay.
sharing, click the video, and then reshare, I think.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Hello, Robert.
Hi, Bob. I'm gonna go ahead, stop sharing for a moment if you don't mind, Gabriella.
Yeah.
So it is possible that if you tell it to share the desktop like this,
You do?
selected desktop.
You let people look at you?
I assume that's what you're seeing.
Maybe I'll.
Then that might allow it. But anyway, I'll stop sharing that.
Okay.
Anyway, everyone will be patient. We'll figure it out.
Hi, Amy.
I see you there.
Hi, Mary Jo.
Hello, good morning.
Someone's got some good reverb there.
Oh, you really are.
So
I'm gonna mute mine.
on our radio practice today, we heard much clearer with our new antennas up. So that's exciting.
That
Yay.
is
That
wonderful.
is cool.
I'm
Hey,
gonna make
Lila.
'em- I'm gonna make them see you. Oh, okay. I'll do that. If I can figure it out.
Okay, we've still got people joining in, so maybe we'll give it a couple more minutes if that's all right.
It's only 9:45, which was our start time. So this is good.
Right.
Oh my, let's see, okay.
The sunset or sunrise?
Sunset
Nice.
at the end of Second Street. Hi, Dale.
Lila, can you check your email?
So clearly, whenever we hear reverb, it's Richard and Julie's fault. Okay, good.
Is
There's-
that doorbell ringing people coming in?
Yes.
Oh, that's a new feature, isn't it?
Yeah,
No.
it's probably something that I have set in the different settings.
I've
Can't
heard it
see
before.
you guys. I can hear you, but I can't see you. Can you guys hear me? This is Pam.
We can
Very
hear,
clear.
Yes.
Hear you, Pam.
and we can see you.
Yeah, and I can't see you. This happened to me once before. I'm gonna get out and start over again.
Hit the
Okay.
join video.
Yeah.
Let me try again.
The solution for all computer problems is turn it off and turn it on.
Did that and it happened again. Why does it? Oh, let's see. I'll try another method.
Anyway, we see you quite clearly.
Yes, we do.
That- oh, now I can see you. What was? How weird is that? Okay.
Well, welcome to the video streaming.
Got you. Got you.
Good, and we had somebody leave. Maybe someone else is gonna leave and come back in.
Okay.
While we're waiting, thank you, Pam, for doing the best shot I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh, good. Well, you know what happened to me last week was so embarrassing. So embarrassing. For the first time since nursing school 35 years ago, I stuck myself with a needle.
Ooh,
It's like,
That is so, not on the way out, right?
what's that?
On the way
Yeah.
out or the way in?
Afterwards, after I poked
Oh.
Oh, bad. That's
Yeah.
bad.
Oh, I'm so
So
sorry.
now
That-
I've got to
that-
do a bunch of monitoring for the next whatever 6 months, but I'm not really worried about it. I think the incidence of HIV from needles that you from injections is pretty low.
it's
actually.
extremely low, but if it happens to you, it doesn't matter how low it is.
I know, but I'm
And
not
I'd be more concerned about hepatitis.
hepatitis C. Yeah, so I'm going to be optimistic. I'm not going to panic.
Good.
I'm going to stop giving shots.
I hear a cat.
It's a cat. I don't want to strangle
It's-
that cat.
It's Pam's cat.
Cat. I'm going to throw her out.
It's fine. I don't care. I love cats.
I care. Hold on.
Okay.
Get over here.
Okay. What do you think? Shall we start?
I'm ready whenever you guys are. I think.
Okay. It's yours. You could please introduce yourself because there are people here that aren't MRC members.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gabriela Karushi. I'm a nurse and I am part of MRC Cannon Beach. How many years, Lila, now? I don't know, 4 maybe?
Yeah, I bet it's 4.
Yeah. And I work at Providence Seaside Hospital as a nurse clinical supervisor. I also have a doctorate in public health and I write books. Anything else you want to know? And today we are going to talk about You're the Help Until Help Arrives. And this is a training that we chose a few months back, and then we had some power outages, so I couldn't share. And this training is adopted from the Community Members Response Guide from the HHS. And let me see. But now it doesn't let me go. Let me see. Okay, there you go. So the goal, the whole idea is that as many people as possible are kind of trained in basic help and support if something happens, for all the citizens to be able to take any action and provide help, first aid, and additional support until additional professional help arrives. And now I have to stop sharing so I can start the YouTube video and share again, apparently.
And then I think you have to click on the frame with the video.
Okay, so hold on 1 second. So I'm going to share again. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
And let me know if can you hear it?
Yes. No, not,
Don't hear
Nope.
any sound, but it's running.
can you narrate maybe what's going on?
Because we have no sound from the YouTube.
Oh, you can't hear the sound?
No. Oh, no.
Just have to read the
Subtitles.
captioning, I think.
Oh, so I have the full sound on. So I'm not sure why you guys can't hear it. Does anybody know how to make that
Says
happen?
mute on there. Is that muted?
No, it's
I
It's
can
not.
mute it. It's unmuted.
so I don't know for sure. What if you go to the little 4 corners on the right and do full screen?
Okay.
Let's see what happens then. Still no sound, but we can read the
Oh, you still can't hear it?
subtitles, I guess.
Could you
Hmm.
read the subtitles for those of us who can't see that tiny print on a phone?
Yeah, but the subtitles are not really telling the story because they are really talking quite a bit.
Can you hear the sound?
I can hear it.
What the only thing I can think of is what if you take your headset and put the microphone right next to your speaker?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like you speaking.
Oh, okay, but then I
It's on
can't hear you guys if you tell me something.
That's right. Then you'd be listening, and that's where you hear it also is in the headset. That's why I bet
The headset's muting it.
I bet the
Yes.
headset's using us.
That's it. That's it.
Okay, so I don't have a separate microphone, only on my headset.
Just unplug it while it plays.
Yes.
It's only 2 minutes. We can be quiet.
Can you unplug the
If you
headset?
put the link
see
in
if that
chat, I can open it and
activates it?
share it.
Yeah, that would be great, Pam. Would you be able to open it and share?
Yeah, put that, like, take the ULR, put it in chat. And as long as this is an open system, I can then play it and then I can share it.
Okay, so
I've got the got it here,
Okay.
maybe.
Okay, I just put it in a chat.
Okay. Let's see what happens. Oh, I can hear it. Hold on.
It was a little strange.
I
And
can hear it too.
Okay, so
now
now,
I'm going to go back. Hold on. Here we are. I'm going to share my
so, yeah, Gabriella, you've unshared, right?
I think
Yeah, I can do
so.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so now you should be able to share, Amy.
Okay, everyone can see it.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't have
take-
my mouse plugged in. I'm a little slow.
Go to the beginning, maybe.
Sit down to someone that you've never met before.
Uh-oh,
Any first responder.
Uh-oh.
wrong direction. So go up to the upper left corner and do the back key. Yeah, there you go. That should, there you go.
It was a little strange to sit down to someone that you've never met
Everyone hears
before and decide that you're going to grab their hand and tell them everything is okay.
I screamed. That's all I remember doing at that moment. I knew I was going to wreck.
I remember feeling like we had to do something immediately right now.
The day started out like any other day. Wasn't cold, wasn't hot. My friend called me that morning and he said, I'm going to take out my Harley and you got your new bike. And so let's just go out and have some fun.
All of a sudden, I see the woman on the motorcycle just flying through the air. I just remember saying, stop the car.
I remember being thrown headfirst over the motorcycle. And I heard them say, don't move, please don't move. Blood was streaming down and it went on into the gutter. There's still the mark of the blood.
And then when we pulled up and saw her, blood was rushing down out of her leg and into the gutter. My husband's cousin took his shirt off and immediately started applying pressure to stop the bleeding.
Kenil was holding my hand. I remember that distinctly. She was saying, you're going to be okay. And to hear those words were so important.
I really feel bystanders have a responsibility to act. Don't be afraid. You're not going to hurt yourself. You're not going to hurt the patient. All you'll do is help, even if it's just a comforting hand.
Doing something that's better than doing nothing. That helps us more than they would ever realize. That can make all the difference between life and death.
If you imagine yourself in a situation where you've been in an accident, you're vulnerable, you're frightened, think about what you would want.
Okay.
Thanks, Amy.
Great. Thank you. Now I have to find where I was. Okay. Okay. There's Zoom. I see a kitty cat.
There you go.
All right, so what did everybody think of that video?
It was good. It encouraged people to step up and do something.
Yeah, and I think that was really important that they were saying that you cannot do more harm, but if you don't do anything, that can make things worse. And I think it was really nice to hear from the woman that just somebody being there, just simply being there, can make such a huge difference. And I don't know if any of you been in an accident or had family members or friends or anybody who has been in an accident, but I think they would pretty much say something similar. It's just anybody being there, that knowing that somebody's there and trying to help you, I think that can make all the difference in the world. So even if it's not, even if somebody doesn't have professional training, any tiny thing they can do to help the other person make a difference. There are a few steps. Yes.
Could I interject something?
Yeah.
So this is Lila. That's why you should have a mask, gloves, and a tourniquet in your glove compartment.
Yeah, that's a great idea to have anything to be able to assist. Absolutely. They are recommending 5 steps to do. Of course, if you have access to the phone. Now, if this is a major disaster, of course, you might not have access to the phone. But if it's just a simple accident and you have access to a phone and able to call 911, that would be the first step, because then the professional people will come and provide more support. Protecting who is somebody injured from the harm. This could be something as simple as moving them, if they are movable, to a sheltered area, or providing a blanket, or stopping traffic, whatever it kind of depending on what is the situation. If they are bleeding, the same way how they were sharing in the video, having some kind of things, it's kind of good to have something in your car. As Lila was saying, the other things too, if you have a small towel, if you have, of course, if you have a tourniquet and you're trained, you can use the tourniquet. Even if you're not, it's good to watch like maybe a little video about how to use tourniquets, but using something, and if it's your shirt, it's your shirt, to take it down and press it down on the bleeding. So the person.
If I can interrupt there for
Yeah.
a moment, this is a good time to talk about the Stop the Bleed training that
Yes.
a number of the MRC members can provide. So if anybody listening knows of a local organization that would like the free training or anything like that, we can, it's just a couple of hours, I think, maybe less. It's like an hour and a half to do a full training, and we can do a group of people. So just get in touch.
Absolutely. Yeah. The next thing would be to position somebody so they can breathe easier. Like if they get injured, breathing could be difficult. So if they can turn to their side or sit up a little bit to breathe easier, that would be more ideal. And provide any comfort as possible. It could be, as I mentioned before, a blanket, or just being there, or if they can take a sip of water, whatever that comfort is, to be there for them. Acting quickly can save lives, and just the more of us are aware of what are the possible things we can do, we can help save somebody's life. And these kind of injuries, just like it mentioned in a video, it can happen at any moment. It might just start as a normal day, and then something major happens. It could be any type of accident, car, motorcycle, bicycle crashes, and of course, there's more involved, like buses or trains, and it could be just a tree falling down in a storm. It could be really anything. Many times people work in their home, and there could be accidents in the home. Unfortunately, it could be active shooter, which can happen in any neighborhood. The weathers, as I mentioned, trees coming down, acts of terrorism, or any kind of transportation issue. So those things can happen at any time, and being ready could help people save lives. Trauma itself is the leading cause of death in America for people under 46 years old. And the first care someone gets requires no special skills. And I think that's important, because I think many people might think, oh, I have to be like super specially trained. And to break that barrier, to just step up, even if you don't know much about medical care, but just being there and do something, again, is more than doing nothing. And it can make potentially the difference between someone staying alive or someone is dying or getting more hurt. Helping someone who is injured, then they get help, keep them warm, stop the bleeding, call for help. Any of these things can be very helpful. And now I wonder if I make this small. Can you guys see this?
No, it's just that one frame that we see. So we see the PowerPoint the same as before.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing so I can show you guys the website. And I'm going to put this website in the link too. So this is the website that have some special training. Can you guys see it now?
Yes.
So it's You're the Help Until the Help Arrived. They have like a little video, web-based training program, and they have an instruction guide and student tools to be able to train other people. And they have another little video here that people can see. So this is like a really useful little website. And once you complete this training, then it gives you like a little certificate to be able to use. And back to PowerPoint.
Could you give that to Mary, give the URL to Mary Beth so she would send us that link? I think it's a little quick to write it down by hand, and I tend to miscopy things anyway.
Robert, I just saved the chat, so I've got it.
Thank you.
So there is, let's see, this other little video I would like to share. Can you guys see it? Oh, but you're not going to be able to hear it. So if I put it in a chat, could somebody please play this video?
Sure.
Okay.
Is it in the chat yet?
I just
There.
put it in.
Okay, so if you'll unshare.
Oh, am I still sharing?
Any first responder.
Hang on a moment, I will get it started.
I think I stopped on sharing. Am I
Yeah,
still sharing?
okay, just a moment.
Any first responder will tell you
Stop.
that it is.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys.
Okay. Can you see it now?
I see a blank screen. Oh, here it comes.
Any first responder will tell you that it is rare, really rare, to show up on any scene, whether it's a fire, whether it's, someone sick, whether it's, a cat in a tree, where someone isn't trying to do something. We do a pretty good job as professional medical response. We do a good job getting there quickly, but when we get there and nothing's been done, when we get there and there's been a huge time lag, when you get there and it's been 30 minutes, and the person is now cold, and we know getting hypothermic, getting cold when you're traumatically injured kills you. We know that. The person is in a position where they can't breathe well, right? And they haven't been getting enough oxygen. That kills you. We know that. 30 minutes is a long time. The person is bleeding and they continue to bleed, and there's a giant puddle of blood on the ground, which should be inside that person's body. We know that. So can we keep them alive? Maybe, but it's going to be way harder if we don't have that citizen helping us out. It's a team. We're a team. We're here to help you. We need you to help us.
People are afraid because they don't have formal training that they might make the situation worse. Really, it's very, very hard to make the situation worse. If you're in a situation where someone's suffering some kind of life-threatening emergency, it's pretty hard to make it worse for them than it already is. It's much better to try to do something. You're very unlikely to cause them harm. So it's better to, at least give it a shot. It's a difference between life and death for that person, because we are quick, but we're not that quick.
If people knew that they could intervene and do something immediately, would help enormous numbers of people. The worst thing you can do is just stand by and do nothing.
Great, thank you for playing that.
So Gabriella,
Yes.
I think one of the things that keeps people from responding is we all have it in our heads that we could paralyze someone by misadjusting them. Do you have any comments about that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it would be good to ask at least if they have any sensations, if they have sensations in their feet and in their hands. there also have been some misconceptions about that. Like they used to put people in a collar all the time, and that's not happening anymore. Actually, they have found that some of those things can be more harmful than helpful. Each situation is different, so you kind of have to like see what would best help the patient. But as the first responders were saying, even if you just keep them warm, even if you just being there, even if you just stop the bleeding, you are doing something. If it's a major traumatic injury and you suspect somehow that they have broken their spine, I think that would be a very different situation. It's kind of hard to say, because depending on what's going on, I don't know if anybody else have any other ideas how to help with that. I don't know if I have the best answer. Bob, any ideas?
Well, yeah, we face this all the time, even when we get people in the emergency room sometimes that are not fully boarded. There is a little bit of a risk, but I would say if someone can't breathe and just repositioning them to breathe, the risk of you causing further neck damage, unless they're really complaining about neck damage, is pretty minimal. So I think you need to look at what's going to save somebody right now. And I think something like just helping them breathe, or simple, you don't reposition them to stop bleeding, but even those kind of maneuvers are going to give you immediate help for somebody there is a slight risk that the maneuver will, cause a tiny bit of further damage, but it's rare. I've never seen it happen. And we've done tons of people when they're in acute distress, for whatever it takes to get, the basic, stop the bleeding and keep them breathing. That's what you're doing.
Absolutely. I guess if you're not doing something, you would cause more harm, because if you don't do those things, they would be dead. So, but if you do small adjustments, they might be able to stay alive to keep that breathing and stop the bleeding. So,
And that's what I was just going to say, is especially for people who are not trained, that to make sure that they understand that doing nothing may kill the person. Doing something may harm them a little bit, but they are already tremendously harmed. And what you've done, you'll not know if you made it a tiny bit worse, but is it really worse than dead?
Good.
I guess nothing worse than that, because
it's pretty permanent.
Yeah. There's not much you can do then. So absolutely. And this leads us to the Good Samaritan Law, which is saying you cannot do more harm than doing nothing. And I think that's what the videos I keep pressing to is, until help arrives, doing anything is better than doing nothing, to protect the people, to try to help when they are in need. And there are actually more harm caused by doing nothing than doing something. So I don't know if that kind of answers your question, Lila, but it's less likely to cause some harm by doing something than doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And the Good Samaritan Law is different in each state, but generally it's basically just protecting people when they're trying to do something good, so that they don't get sued or don't get in trouble for trying to help somebody else. Any questions about that or anything so far? Okay. They're also recommending, of course, in any injury to call 911. And it's really interesting when they are talking about times can be so different when we are talking about injuries. And even if we think that we don't know something really well, when there is a need, our brain kind of helps us remember those steps or those things that we learned, like in our MRC trainings, or we saw a video, or we saw in a TV. It's like, okay, what am I doing right now? And they are suggesting, and I think we are doing a good job of that, trying to practice and trying to learn more about what are the things to do when we actually have to respond. And providing comfort, reassurance, again, repositioning, it's kind of the same thing over and over again. It's providing the positioning, providing the breathing, stopping the bleeding, and practice calling 911. I heard situations when people, it's not something you call all the time. So they would call 611 or mix up the numbers or 119 because it's just not something you do. I know some of the phones can be set up that you just push one button in emergency. So for people who might have challenges dialing, that potentially could be helpful. Or if you can't, it's all right also to delegate, to tell somebody else, could you call 911 or could you do this or could you do that? Even if just delegating, if you're challenged for some reason and you don't have a blanket, see if somebody else does, to keep the patient warm. So it's always okay to also ask if there's other bystanders, ask them to help as well. Staying safe is one of the most important things. So if your safety would be compromised by helping somebody else, then you need to stop. Because if you get hurt, then now you have two people hurting and maybe nobody else helping. So you have to assess the situation and make sure it's safe. So if somebody like halfway down the hill and you can't safely get to them, you can call for help and just be there and talk to them, but don't try to go down the hill if you assess the situation and you feel like there could be a slide or that would compromise your safety. The same with sometimes when there are wires down or there's too much water or any situation, basically, you just need to pause and stop if you feel like it's not safe. Also, if there's like, a fire or gas leak or anything like that, if just anything feels funny or unsafe, it's better to stop than get yourself hurt, because if you're hurt, then you cannot help somebody else. So it's always good to just kind of stop and assess the situation for a few minutes before you get involved in it. And if you need to move a person, and that again is come with an assessment, if you cannot move them by yourself, see if you can get help or have the assistance of, if you have available blankets or any ideas, people can come up with really creative stuff, how to move other people. When need to be, sleds can work. I mean, I don't know if anybody has any ideas, but I've seen some creative ways as people move things, move other people. Of course, if you have any kind of transportation device in your car, that would be helpful, but sometimes we don't have that. So you might just have to do something unusual, like try to roll them on a blanket and drag them with some other help if you can't come up with anything else to get them out of harm's way. But again, just use your best judgment of how to get them out of harm safely and keep yourself safe as well. And here's the Stop the Bleed. And thank you, Bob, for putting in a plug for MRC earlier. A little bit more information about that. We could offer classes if anybody's interested. Bleeding is the fast killer because we can lose just a few liters of blood, 2 liters of blood, and people can go into shock, and that could be really difficult to reverse. So if we can stop the bleeding anyway, that would be really helpful to save the person's life. And that could be fearful for some people because it's a bodily fluid. So as Lila said earlier, having a pair of gloves or 2, if you feel comfortable, put 2 on, that can save somebody's life. Our bodies only have 5-6 liters of blood. So losing 1/3 of that can really hurt the person and they might not be able to recover from that. Applying a firm pressure, a lot of pressure. So you need a lot of pressure to stop the bleeding. You can put your full body weight into it, or if you have a tourniquet or some other kind of device to stop the bleeding, it is going to hurt. It's not fun. It is really painful when you put in a tourniquet, but it's still better than have the person bleed out and die, right? So if they're dead, there's no return from that. And that discomfort is going to be really painful. They might ask you to remove it. and you don't, because if you remove it, again, they can die. Anything else anybody wants to add regarding stopping the bleeding? Okay, so stopping the
Hey,
bleeding.
Bob Wayne, tell your story about your the person who took the Stop the Bleed class.
Oh, I hope I can tell it the same. So anyway, a patient sent me an email after we taught the class and said that he was driving on 26. There was an accident. Someone had arterial bleeding coming from, I think, an amputated extremity, and he was pulling up at the scene, and they were trying to put a belt around I think it was an arm, and stop the bleeding. It wasn't very effective, which it isn't. You can't get the pressure. He had the stop the bleed tourniquet, which we all are trained to use, and he pulled it out of the car, brought it over, and put it on the patient, and immediately stopped the bleed, and he saved the person's life. And that was in very short time from when he took the class. I still have that email. I saved it. But it's a good example of how, what you got to realize when you show up on these scenes sometimes is that you're the leader of the party. You're the one who has at least the experience to know that you can't screw it up by doing something. And there's a lot of people standing around you that are frozen and are thinking, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Well, you are at that point the leader. And as Gabrielle says, you jump in and you do what you can, and you get the people around you to help you, and you use whatever resources you have nearby to warm them, to move them, and to be the leader of the pack. It doesn't seem very likely to think of yourself that way, but that's what you do when you show up and the others don't have that training. Go ahead.
That's a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's again come back to the same concept. Doing something is better than doing nothing. So even if you try and if it doesn't work, at least you tried and save that person's life. So stopping the bleeding, if you can find a source and use some kind of barrier, apply really firm pressure and keep applying that pressure until EMS arrives. Positioning can be also really helpful. So it kind of depending on what's going on with the person, but if they are unconscious, you kind of want to turn them on their side, and that kind of help, like, so because if you leave them on their back, like if there is any vomiting or any breathing issues, it would be more difficult for them to breathe. If the person is alert, just whatever is comfortable for them. If they breathe easier, if you sit them up a little bit or turn them into the side. Again, it kind of going to depend on what is the situation. Where is the situation happen? Did it happen at home? Did it happen out? It was a car crash, or did it happen out while somebody was on the trail, which happens quite a bit as well. But don't force them. If they don't want to do something, don't make them do it. If they don't want to go into a certain position, they probably know what best feels more comfortable for them. And just again, going back to providing as much comfort as possible. If everybody should have access to those little warming blankets that are just super tiny and can fit in your pocket, the space blankets. If you have one of those, it's good to have it handy to keep people warm, because people lose body heat really quickly. And as they were saying in the video, that if somebody cools down, it's much harder to bring them back. If you can put any kind of barrier between the injured person and the ground to help them keep warm, that is wonderful. Kids can get really frightened, especially if something happened to them or something happened to their person, their family, or whoever is with them. So it's kind of, you have to go down to their level, talk to them in a way that they can understand easily and maintain eye level, and just be there for them so they know that there's somebody there to help and support them. And there's psychological first aid classes, multiple of them, that are free to Serve Or and other, and to Red Cross and other sources. So that's also a really good way to kind of review how to talk to people and how to calm down people during any kind of injury or disaster. And that's kind of all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
I just want to reinforce one of the pillars of what you do, along with stopping bleeding and helping airway. This issue of hypothermia, we fight that all the time in the trauma bay. The room is actually heated when people come in to that bay, so they're already cold. And anything you can do to get them warm, like you said, get them off the pavement if you can do it, onto a blanket and cover them. That makes a big difference in how they react to trauma. Because once they start getting cold, we're losing a lot of ability to resuscitate them, especially when it comes to coagulation. People, when they get cold, their coagulation factors go off a lot too. So I can't stress that as a third leg of the triangle of helping them breathe, stopping bleeding, and in my opinion, keeping them warm. Go ahead.
I'm done with my slideshow and my little presentation. I was given 20 minutes, so that's all I had. Unless somebody else have any questions or anything else.
Very good.
You're muted, Lila.
Lila, we can't hear you.
Hypothermia actually occurs at 55 degrees, so it doesn't have to be really cold for people to get hypothermic. But I wanted to put in a plug for the MRC for those of you who, the CERT folks and DART folks. In April, our Medical Reserve Corps team volunteered 485 hours to the vaccination and COVID relief program for Clatsop County, and that amounts to $22,909 in volunteer time. So I'm really proud of our team.
Yes. And I seen you guys in multiple vaccination clinic, and it was kind of fun to see everyone there. So
Gabrielle, you're teaching a very basic class here, and it's more for the certs than it is for the MRCs. But what anybody has to get out of this that isn't a medical person, especially, is that you have some extra knowledge about how to respond, and maybe even a little less fear that all those people that have no exposure to you can't do any harm. I mean, that's the real trick of being a CERT, I think. Does that make sense to the CERT people that are on? That's what you're going to learn in what we teach in the class, basically.
I would agree with that. I think that it's really good for the CERT and DART folks to know, for the non-medical folks to know that even your presence as a calming presence is immeasurably helpful to someone who's in crisis. The number one thing, well, besides airway and breathing, is not panicking, because when you're in a panicked state, you really harm yourself more than being able to stay calm when you are the injured party. So I absolutely agree that, knowing, okay, stay calm, and then help that person stay calm, reassure them, do what you can to help their physical surrounding, but even that psychological part is really important. And know that if they're seriously injured, you're not going to hurt them worse than what they're already hurt. And you could save their life. And that's really important to know. So this is a great reassurance for those of us without a lot of medical training or perhaps any, to know that our presence, just our presence as a calming presence, and doing those basic things of keeping them warm, keeping them safe until help arrives, stopping some bleeding, helping them to get into a position where they can breathe easier. Those are things that anybody can do without medical training to save somebody's life. So thank you for that. Yes.
I think that everybody that's here, just because by the nature of your being a volunteer and you want to be involved and you want to help, we, all of us are the ones that are probably not going to hesitate too much to step in and see what we can do to help. Sharing this kind of presentation with others in the general public, I think, can be really valuable.
And please feel free to share the video, share the website, because people, if they go onto that website, I think Lila sent out the PowerPoint, but I'm sure she can send it out to the group again. So feel free to share the PowerPoint and those websites and resources, because people can earn the certificate that can make feel good that, you know, I did something for my community. It's a little reward. And I'm sure down the line, hopefully, when we have less issues with COVID, maybe we can do some more like practices too that involve like these kind of steps to kind of, because as they were saying, when you practice things, it's kind of easier sticking in your mind that even just putting a blanket on somebody can be helpful, or just being there and holding their hand.
I will also add that I did 911 practice with my first graders when I was teaching. Because, a child had a situation at home where he potentially should have called 911, but none of them knew how to do that. So I pretended to be the 911 operator, and I brought in 2 telephones so that we could actually have telephones. I mean, we did the whole thing. And those kids left that day knowing that they would be asked a lot of questions, that they would have to answer, and they felt comfortable to know how to call 911. So I agree very much with you that calling 911 is in the panic moment that you need to. It's a hard process to go through, but having that knowledge ahead of time of what's going to happen when you do call is very helpful.
Thank you for doing that with the kids. I've seen shows before when kids save their parents' life, so it's a really important skill.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to thank Gabriella for running the show. Our MRC leadership team met earlier and came up with a plan for trainings throughout the year, and we're transitioning from just trying to train ourselves to supporting the community to be better responders. So that's why we picked this topic. The ones that we have coming up in the future are active shooter and a weather event, but we're taking the summer off, and then we'll be doing our trainings every month starting in September again. So I hope you enjoyed Gabriella's presentation. She's also a teacher besides everything else. So great job, Gabriella. And thanks for tolerating the technology anxiety.
I'm sorry that I was not fully set up the way I was supposed to.
That was good. Thanks.
Thank you.
I have a request, kind of like the previous one. This is the first of these that I've participated in. Are there some other ones recorded? And if so, could you send out an email blast with links to those?
I will. We had Gina, who's the emergency department director at Columbia Memorial, did a training for us last month that was really excellent, but something went wrong with the recording. But I can send Mary Beth the PowerPoint and she can share that with everybody.
And actually, Bob, that is the recording that you do have. Bob Lundy did successfully record that video. And he sent it to me, but it's a very large file, so I can, I still can pass it on to Rusty at the city and have him post it on the city website, and then we can create a link for it. I just haven't done that.
Thank you. Yeah, do you have the date offhand? I can probably look back and find that. Otherwise, I'll look when it's on the city website. Thank you.
Yeah, or you can, you can look at our email correspondence and, search for me, and that's.
Not always easy for me, strangely enough. I'm working.
It was March 13th.
Thank you, Lila.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Over and out.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent presentation. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Very nice. Very
Good, Dale.
helpful.
Bye, Dale. All right, getting down to the last few.
I know.
Look,
Hey,
I'll
Lila, I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
I have some more baby aspirin, 2 more boxes. Do you want more?
So I talked it over with Kathy,
Okay.
and what we decided about the baby aspirin is that typically people take those on a routine basis.
Mhm.
So it didn't make a lot of sense to keep it.
But you could do more, like, so if you want to use it for something else, you can add, you can give them
Make
more
4
than
of
1 pill. Give them, instead of 1, you can give them 4 and make it the pain reliever.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But we get them as a sample for for cardiology, and we're not supposed to give them out as a sample in cardiology because it's something that's readily accessible. So our doctor just received another box, and one of the boxes Maggie's gonna take, but I have 2 more left. So any ideas if we don't want to use
I have
them?
a suggestion of what I do. I don't know whether everybody uses these little bitty plastic toothpicks as part of their toothbrushing, but if you get a package of them, of 100 or so, it comes with a little flat plastic container, and I keep some of those in my pocket, and also 4 baby aspirin in there in case either I think I'm having a heart attack or I come across somebody that seems like they may be having a heart attack. So I've always got 4 baby aspirin in my pocket.
So on second thought, Gabriella, when Dr. Gina did her presentation last month, she really encouraged people to carry baby aspirin for this, what Bob Lundy was saying about the
Yeah, we could just hand it out to people. I'm fine with that if whoever wants it.
Okay. All right, that'd be great then. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll somehow get the 2 boxes for you, and then yeah, whenever we have our next training, or if somebody just wants it, we can just give it to them.
Okay. Thanks,
Sounds good.
Gabriella.
Okay,
And thanks
thank
for
you.
doing the presentation. It
In
was
the
great.
chat box, Janae said, thank you, Gabriella, and Paula said, thank you from Nehalem Bay MRC and EVCNB, and some other thank yous. So passing those along.
Thank you. Have a wonderful
thank
weekend,
you.
everybody.
You too.
Bye.
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 Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, same to you, Lila. Happy Mother's Day.
Delilah.